Alright, guys, so this next Patreon request comes from Hunter Johnson, who asked me to do a three-way crossover between Steven Universe, Transformers, and G.I. Joe. So, yeah, so let's get started. But actually, before we get started, as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys could start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube once you hit the 3rd tier. That'll also let you have access to all the other videos and other tiers on Patreon as well. It also, if you want to just do the 1st tier and just check out, like, theatrical movie reviews as well as episode reviews, that's, like I've said before, that's where my Has Been Hotel reviews are going to be. But yeah, if you want to just hit the 1st tier or 2nd tier, that's fine too. Anyway, but like I said, if you want to do Patreon requests, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, hit the 3rd tier. Anyway, so let's get started with the video. So this story basically begins with Cobra contacting the Decepticons. In here, yeah, we're kind of going by G.I. Joe versus Transformer logic, where the Autobots and Joes are working together, as well as the Decepticons and Cobra, which are making a uneasy alliance. So yeah, Cobra has made contact with the Decepticons, and the Megatron arrives with Starscream and Soundwave, and Megatron's like, this better be important, dude. Like, this had better be good. Like, this better be the best damn thing you have ever shown me. And Cobra Commander shows what they found. What they found was an old kindergarten. And they're like, we don't know what this is, we do know it's extraterrestrial, perhaps you can give us a show of what it could be, what is it and what it could be. And he's like, this is a, Gem Homeworld kindergarten, and it's used to create life from draining a planet. And he's like, and Cobra Commander's like, create life, you say? So, yeah. So, the Decepticons and the Decepticons and Cobra begin working together in order to reactivate this kindergarten. And if you're wondering which kindergarten it is, it's the one we first saw way back when. Like, the one that it's Amethyst's birthplace. They kind of say, like, if I believe right, it's somewhere deep in Norway, I believe, if I read the map right. But anyway, so Cobra and the Decepticons are working together to use the kindergarten. But it's also noted that as they also realize that in order to get this to work, they kind of need someone who knows this technology. Even though they're like Dr. Mindbender and even getting Shockwave to work on it, Shockwave and Mindbender are like, we aren't gems, that's the problem. We need someone to figure out how this works. And they're like, okay, we'll figure it out. So, what happens next is that Little Homeworld, it's just another day in Little Homeworld, and everyone's fine and dandy, and that's when, out of nowhere, in Little Homeworld, and Steven's visiting again. This is after the show's end, and Steven's visiting, and he's like, hey guys, what's up? It's so great to see you. And what are those jets flying so low for? And sure enough, the Seekers come rocketing in and start bombarding Little Homeworld. Like, they just start doing a bombing run on Little Homeworld, and they are just fucking destroying it left and right. Essentially, like, yeah, they are just bombing the shit out of it. Gems start either running for cover or defending them, or going to defenses. So, not only that, it's not just the Seekers who show up. It also then is revealed that, like, that Cobra is on the ground. Like, now Cobra his troopers are on the ground, being led by Destro in a full frontal assault. It's just a full-on attack on Little Homeworld. It isn't before long that they do manage to fight them off. Like, even Jasper's like, I've long waited to fight a Decepticon. You don't know how long I've waited to fight a Decepticon. And sure enough, she just starts jumping into battle. The gems go into battle, and Amethyst and Garnet become Sugalite. Just at that time, because they were like, yeah, we know what fusions are. That's when the Decepticon battleship Tidal Wave comes out of the ocean and just starts fighting with Sugalite. But from there, it turns out it was all a distraction. Like, it was like the gems did fight back against Cobra and the Decepticons, but there's a problem. Peridot's missing. It turns out that the massive attack was a ruse in order to capture Peridot. So now the gems have to figure out why the gems do reveal to Steven that those were Decepticons. We had war, the gems and Cybertronians. There was a war between the gems and Cybertron. Homeworld and Cybertron did have a war thousands of years ago, and the Diamonds don't like to talk about it that much because it was a war they lost. It was basically a major war that they lost. It was started by the Diamonds to try to colonize it, but also to take the Enigma of Configuration. Basically, through the reverse engineering the Enigma of Configuration, that's how fusions were born. But it also led to them wanting to take Energon as a energy source. The Cybertronians didn't take too lightly to that, and eventually what happened was, this is before the Civil War, by the way, Megatron led a civilian army to defeat the Gem invasion. The war effectively ended when Megatron bested Yellow Diamond in combat. The Cybertronians won, and the Decepticon freedom fighters got a boost for Megatron. This would inevitably lead about shortly thereafter, the events of Cybertron dying by its own hand. But yeah. And however, the humans are like, well, why did humans attack us? What were those other humans doing with Cybertronians? And that's when, Steven is like, well, Connie told me about these people called Cobra. They're a terrorist organization. They're working with the Decepticons, but why would they want Peridot? And Lapis is like, I don't fucking care. We're getting Peridot back. And they're like, well, we don't know what they are, where they are going, and plus, we need help. And that's when they hear, that's where we come in. They all turn around, and it's like Scarlet, Duke, Snake Eyes, and Shipwreck, who are all there, and they're like, we're G.I. Joe. We need you to come with us, sir. So, of course, just after a blitzkrieg, they're not ready to, let Steven just leave, so the gems get all ready to fight, but Steven calms everyone down, and the Joes explain themselves that, yeah, the Decepticon Cobra Alliance did take your friend. We've been monitoring them, and we tried to get here first, but we got held up. The Decepticons and Cobra cut us off, and we wanted to come warn you, but they intercepted us, and we tried to get here as soon as we could. But now we're here, all of us. And they're like, all of us? And that's when a truck pulls up, and it's Optimus Prime, and with several of the Autobots, and he's like, we have come to help you. So, and they're like, even if we're gems, and he's like, it's time to let the past die. Today we are, we are brothers and sisters in combat. So, gems, Autobots, and Joes fly to Norway, where Peridot has been forced, but after being mind-controlled by Shockwave and Mindbender, into activating the kindergarten. But the thing is, it's a little different. This time, they're making something else. They're basically using components of Cybertronian DNA, and human DNA to make horrible gem-human Cybertronian hybrid shock troopers, and make an army out of them that will serve Cobra Commander and Megatron. So when the Joes, Gems, and Autobots arrive, it's a total war. It's just all-out war in order to destroy this. And Amethyst has this quick moment of, this was my home. This is where I was born. They're just, they're defiling it. They're defiling everything that was me here. So Amethyst just goes ham on everybody, wrecking shit. Eventually, the fight does go further to Lapis finding Peridot and breaking her free of Mindbender and Shockwave's control. And it does lead to Amethyst destroying destroying the entire kindergarten, so no one can use this and make these kind of abominations ever again. And so yeah, by the end of it, the Decepticons and Cobra flee, like they go into full-on retreat. The kindergarten's destroyed, and by the end of it, Scarlet offers the gems a place in G.I. Joe, and they're like, nah, but it's nice to make new friends. So, then Steven goes, can I say a battle cry real quick? And Scarlet's like, yeah, sure. Yo, Joes, roll out! And they're like, no, never do that again. So there you go, guys. That is Steven Universe, Transformers, and G.I. Joe. You guys tell me in the comments below what you guys think of it. And once again, I'd like to thank Hunter Johnson for this Patreon request, as well as continued patronage. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.